Next gate, the 50. The 50 sits right here at the point. It's moving toward the sacral center there. It's called the gate of nurturing. And the keynotes here are about responsibility, care, protection, and nurturing. It's also known as the gate of values, and it embodies nurturing energy and a deep sense of responsibility for teaching the values to your tribe, to your family, to those people that you feel responsible for. And it's attuned to caring for others and maintaining the well-being of those, that are within your circle, whether that again is family, tribe, friends, community, right? Um, and especially in terms of providing guidance, protection, and support, right? It's the foundation of care. The lesson here is to embrace balanced responsibility because the lesson here in the Gate 50 is really about learning to care for others while maintaining self-care. And that's a big one for today, right? We get so caught up. I was talking to a woman yesterday, two little kids, a full-time job, managing her home. It's a story that a lot of us women have experienced, or still experiencing. And it emphasizes then for us that if we don't take care of ourselves first, that we begin to try to serve from a deficit, and then it gets out of balance, right? So we're encouraged to find a balance between the nurturing of others and nurturing of ourselves. And that might involve setting healthy boundaries, ensuring that we don't overextend ourselves, right? We can give to ourselves in at least an equal measure to what we give to others, because if we do not, then everything starts to fall apart here in this gate. Now, the fear is about responsibility, and it can work two ways. And literally, all the fears can work two ways. It can be, outward, or it can be inward. The fear is of responsibility here in this gate, whether I'm afraid to take on the responsibility of something, or I'm afraid that I'm going to fail in my responsibilities. So it's learning really to, uh, you know, fear here can really manifest in some weird ways, right? It can manifest in feeling overwhelmed by the weight of the responsibilities that you have, the weight of the duty that you feel to take care of your family, right? Maybe you have an ill mother and you've taken on the care of that person. At the same time, you're trying to manage a full-time job. Maybe you've taken on, the care of grandchildren or your own children even, and yet you're still finding yourself, working day to day. And then you can become apprehensive about letting others down, right? That you've taken on, your shoulders are only so broad here, right? You can only handle so much. And then you can start to avoid responsibility. I mean, that's one expression. Or you can start to feel anxiety around taking on responsibilities. Or to avoid feeling anxious about those responsibilities, you take them all on to your own shoulders. And then what happens is you can't support them all, and things start to happen. Your health fails, or something really, tragic happens to someone else, and then you start to blame yourself, right? So we have to really work through this particular gate's energy very carefully. And the first thing we have to do is to prioritize self care. If we want to have an actionable strategy for this fear, we have to prioritize self care. When the fear of responsibility arises, it's often a sign that you are maybe overburdened. Make self care a priority. So you have the energy, you have the capacity to nurture others effectively. If you don't take care of yourself first, then this becomes a very heavy weight. Set aside time each day to recharge or nurture yourself, even if it's just 10 minutes, right? It'll help you sustain your ability to care for others. Set clear boundaries. This is another big thing that you can do to help yourself here. Recognize that nurturing doesn't mean doing everything for everyone. Establish clear boundaries. In other words, you're not everybody's bitch, right? You are not there to be at the beck and call and of every whim and desire of everyone in your life. So establish clear boundaries to offer support, yes, but without taking on more than you can handle. This allows you to fulfill your responsibilities in a balanced way and reduces the fear and the stress around whether you've taken on too much and whether you can sustain that guidance, that help to those people. Break down responsibilities. If you feel overwhelmed, break them down into smaller, manageable tasks. Focus on one step at a time and build the confidence that you can get this one done, right? I've done that step, I can get this next step done. That'll reduce the fear that you have maybe around failing in this particular respect. And it makes the task at hand feel more achievable and less daunting, right? If you can break them down, it's so much easier. And acknowledge your limits. Accepting that you have limits is essential. If you're a projector, for example, a manifester, for example, a reflector, for example, I don't think I have any reflectors here today, but I do have projectors and I do have manifestors here. Realize that you have limits to your energy, right? You are here to work energy in a different way than, say, the generators and the manifesting generators. So you have to give yourself permission to say no or to delegate when needed. This is necessary to preserve your own well being, your own energy, so you don't burn out. How are you going to help someone else if you are burned out? Right. But it also, think about it this way, it also models to your children or to your family or to your community what it means to have healthy boundaries and to have healthy responsibility for self and others. Right. So the Gate 50 is really an invitation to find harmony in our roles as caregivers and nurturers and transforming the fear of responsibility into a balanced approach to nurturing. Then we can turn this gate into a source of thriving energy where we can provide support, where we can provide care from a place of strength and well being, from your own full cup, in other words, right? So the Gate 50. Now, how do we thrive with the Gate 50? Well, I can already tell you, you're going to need to redefine responsibility as empowerment in your life. Shift your perspective on responsibility. We all have responsibilities, and shift them from heavy or burdensome to empowering. When approached with balance, responsibility can be a source of purpose. It can be very fulfilling to have responsibilities, to feel like I handled that responsibility, and recognize that caring for others and yourself enhances your ability to thrive. And then it helps others thrive as well, right? You become a model for how to take care. And then set boundaries that honor your limits, right? You are not indefatigable. You are not the Energizer Bunny, even though you might have the feeling of that. You are not that person. You are not that. Even the Energizer Bunny would at some point have to have a battery charge, right? Or a battery change, right? The fear of responsibility here often stems from feeling overwhelmed. So, to thrive, it's essential to set those healthy boundaries, and that prevents burnout. So important, right? Take stock of your energy, take stock of your commitments, and say no when necessary. Knowing and honoring your limits allows you to take responsibility for what is truly yours to take responsibility for, and to take responsibility in a sustaining and nurturing way for both you and those around you, right? Those you're trying to help. You can't help others if you are overburdened. Focusing on nurturing and not perfection is another way to thrive in this gate. Instead of striving for perfection, um, focus on the quality of care that you are giving, that you're providing for others. Thriving doesn't come from doing everything perfectly or doing everything right, but really comes from the heart, comes from offering genuine support with compassion, with love, with integrity. And letting go of perfectionism here and trusting your nurturing energy will be sufficient is another way to thrive. Delegate and share the load. You do not have to carry everything yourself. Listen to me, you projectors, manifestors out there. Ask for help, even you generators and manifesting generators, even though you have vast energy quantities, right? Sustainable life force energy. There are times you need help, right? Ask for it. Delegate, share the load, right? Share responsibilities with others. It creates more connection. It reduces stress and, make the role of nurturing more enjoyable for yourself and less isolating, less feeling like I got to do all this, right? I got to do this and there's no one to help me. Nurture yourself first. Trust your instincts. These things kind of go hand in hand with some of the other things that we've been talking about. And thriving comes when you embrace responsibility in a way that honors both your needs and the needs of those you care for. You have to have both, they're intermingled.